I'm really glad you're here today. I don't know where you're listening from right now. Maybe you're walking, maybe you're lying down, maybe this is playing quietly while your mind feels tired. But wherever you are, you don't need to do anything. You don't need to focus. You don't need to understand every word I say. Just let my voice sit with you for a while. Over the last few weeks, I shared 3 short reflections. They were brief, almost unfinished on their own. But that was intentional. Because some thoughts don't want to be explained. Some emotions don't want conclusions. They want space. As I was recording those episodes, I kept feeling that they weren't really separate conversations. They were fragments of one larger inner dialogue. The kind most of us have, but rarely sit with long enough. So today is not a lesson. It is not a recap or an advice. It is simply a moment to pause together and ask, what do all these experiences have in common inside you? Take a slow breath. Let me describe something and just notice if any part of it feels familiar to you. Something inside you feels slightly off. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, but just unsettled. It might be a thought that keeps coming back, an emotion you can't fully name, a restlessness that appears when things go finally quiet. At first, you try to ignore it, and then you try to understand it. You label it. You analyze it. You tell yourself you shouldn't be feeling this way. And when that doesn't work, you distract yourself. For a while, something helps. But then, often at night, or when you are tired, or when the day finally slows down, it comes back. And when it comes back, it rarely comes alone. The thought brings tension. The emotion brings heaviness. The silence brings discomfort. That is when a deeper question appears. What is wrong with me? I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. What you are experiencing is in multiple problems. It is one inner experience expressing itself in different ways, like thoughts, feelings, body sensations. They are not separate systems. They are part of the same conversation. Most of us were never taught how to be with our inner world. We were taught how to perform, how to cope, how to move on quickly. So when something inside us slows down, we get uncomfortable. A thought stays longer than expected. A feeling doesn't resolve neatly. Silence feels louder than noise. And instinctively, we try to escape, don't we? We fight the thought. We suppress the emotion. We fill the silence. But here's something gentle and important. The mind doesn't need to be controlled. It needs to be heard. When a thought is interrupted again and again, it doesn't disappear. It waits. When an emotion is pushed away, it doesn't dissolve. It settles into the body. When silence is avoided, it doesn't become peaceful. It becomes threatening. This is why the same experiences return, but in different forms, at different times, usually when you're least prepared. Not because you're failing, not because you are stuck, but because something inside you hasn't been allowed to complete itself. Let me pause here and say something important. There are many experts who speak about mind, emotions, and mental health, and much of that work is valuable. You will find content that gives you 5 steps, 7 habits, 8 coping strategies. You will find explanations about neuroscience, brain chemistry, and science behind emotions. All of that has its place. Understanding can help. Language can help too. Structure can feel reassuring. But that is not what Unlabelled Mind is trying to do. I'm not here to teach you how emotions work. I'm here to sit with you while they happen. This space isn't about learning about feelings. It's not about feeling, or emotions. It is about feeling them gently, safely, without any pressure. Because knowing the signs of sadness doesn't always help when sadness shows up late at night. Knowing coping strategies doesn't always help when your chest feels tight and your thoughts are racing. And sometimes, being told what to do only makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. This podcast is not a classroom. It is not a lecture, not a checklist, and not a performance, for sure. It is a space where you don't have to fix yourself, where you don't have to apply anything immediately, where you don't have to remember anything at all. My intention here is simple: to let you feel what you feel as you listen. I'm not here to teach you how to preach to others, but to quietly invite you to listen to yourself. If something stirs inside while you listen, that is enough. You don't need to turn it into insights. You don't need to turn anything into action. Or there is no need for you to turn it into any improvement. But just experiencing it without judgment, that is the work. We live in a world that celebrates fixing. Quick clarity, clear labels, fast progress. So when something inside feels unfinished, we assume it is a problem. But your inner world doesn't work on timelines. A feeling needs to be felt, not rushed. A thought needs to move, not be trapped. Silence needs safety and not pressure. Many people say, I've already worked on this. Why is it still here? It is not still here. It was never completed. It never left. And completion doesn't come from effort. It comes from permission. Permission to stay. Permission to feel. Permission to not know yet. And that is not weakness. That is maturity. Those 3 short episodes weren't meant to stand alone. They were doorways, different ways of entering the same inner space. A space where thoughts aren't enemies, where emotions aren't problems, and where silence isn't something to fear. When you stop dividing yourself into parts, something settles. You stop asking questions like, what is wrong with this thought? What is wrong with this feeling? What is wrong with this silence? And instead, you begin to ask, what is this asking of me? And often the answer is very simple. Time, attention, gentleness. You don't need to answer these now. Just notice what happens inside you as you hear them. When was the last time you let a thought pass without chasing it? And when was the last time you allowed a feeling without naming it or correcting it? When was the last time you stayed in silence without filling it? And maybe the gentlest question of all, what if nothing inside you is broken? What if it is simply asking for patience? If this month was about noticing, the next can be about staying. Staying with discomfort, staying with uncertainty, and staying without judgment. You don't need to rush yourself because there is no finish line here. Just a growing relationship with your inner world, one that becomes kinder over time. Thank you for sitting with me today. Wherever you are right now, take a moment and be gentle with yourself. I will meet you again soon.